So, welcome back everyone to Bajirao Ias Academy. So, in this lecture, we will be discussing the last set of case studies which are given in UPSC 2023 examination. So, the case study is you have just appointed as a additional Director General of Central Public Works Department. So, the Chief Architect of your division who is to retire in 6 months. The chief architect of your department who is to retire within 6 months, so is passionately working on a very important project. So that particular individual has been passionately working on a very passionately working on a very important project, because the successful completion of which would earn him lasting reputation for the rest of his life, because this is very important project. And that individual who is going to retire within a 6 months, if he completed the project, then he would earn a lot of reputation. So with that reputation, with the successful completion of the project, he would like to retire. A new lady architect, Seema, trained at a Manchester School of Architecture, that is in UK. So, joined a senior architect in your division. So, Seema joined senior architect in your particular division. So, during the briefing about the project, Seema made some suggestions. So, Seema comes up with some suggestions. So, which would not only add value to the project. So, those suggestions, if we implement those suggestions, they further add the value to the project or augment the project value, but it would also reduce the completion time. So the project would be completed early, much early than anticipated time. So therefore, this has made chief architect. So this chief architect who is going to retire. So this made chief architect insecure, and he is constantly worried that all the credit will go to her. So because she comes up with such a suggestions, so if we implement those suggestions in the ongoing project, firstly that would add value to the project, and secondly it would reduce the completion time of the project. So therefore it 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 translates to more efficient utilization of existing resources. So subsequently, the chief architect, he adopted a passive and aggressive behavior towards her. So this senior architect started showing aggressive behavior towards Seema. So, and he very often become disrespectful to her. So other colleagues raise his voice while speaking to her. Okay, so Seema felt embarrassing as the chief architect left no chance of humiliating her. So, in every part of a project, the senior architect started humiliating Seema, and he would very often correct her in front of other colleagues. So, whenever Seema comes up with any other suggestions, then senior architect started correcting her in front of colleagues and raise his voice while speaking to her. So whenever he's speaking to normal people, there's a difference between how he speaks with the normal individuals and how he speaks with Seema. So he's raising his voice whenever he's speaking with Seema. He's becoming more aggressive and assertive. So this continuous harassment has resulted in her losing confidence and also her self-esteem. So there should be a zero tolerance for any sort of harassment and gender discrimination at workplace. The center has already passed, taking inspiration from the Vishaka guidelines, Prohibition of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act 2013. So this is in short also called as WASH Act. So, in this particular case, after experiencing all these from a senior architect, Seema felt perpetually tensed anxious, and very stressed. So, whenever an individual who is professionally efficient and effective feeling these negative consequences of a bad work culture, then of course her competency, her efficiency would be compromised. She also appeared to be aware of him since he has had a long tenure in the office and has a vast experience in the area of her work. Since senior architect had a vast experience in the area of her work and also a long tenure to go, Seema would not be able to take any meaningful action against the senior advocate. Instead, she has been facing all the discrimination and assertiveness and aggressive attitude of the senior advocate. So you are aware of her outstanding academic credentials. Academically, she is outstanding. She is an outstanding candidate. And you also know her career record in her previous organizations. So how efficient she was in the previous organization she actually worked. So, however, you fear that this harassment may result in compromising her much needed contribution. Okay, so if this harassment continues, then it may result in compromising her much needed contribution, because for any project, in majority of the projects, whether the center or the states have been taking up, the delay in the project is a very crucial challenge. So what happens with the delay? The expenditure, the cost of the such projects will also increase. So therefore, cutting down the project time is very important for any project, so that we could deliver those projects quickly as effectively as possible, and we could also reduce the cost which is incurred on the project, and it also significantly adding the value to the project, so that we cannot compromise on an individual who is as efficient as Seema. Now, so Seema's contribution is very important for the project, and it may adversely impact her emotional well-being if continues to happen. If this continues to happen, then it continuously impact her emotional well-being. So you have also come to know from her peers that she is contemplating to tender her resignation. So if she tender her resignation, that could be a blow to the organization, because if she resigned from the organization, then the project completion would be under question. We cannot complete the project on time, firstly, and secondly, this work culture of harassing women who are competitive enough would further continue. It would further perpetuate within the organization. So therefore, it creates a bad work culture for the woman, and this harassment continues to grow. So this is a kind of a demotivating and disincentivizing factor for women participation in the workforce. So now in this context, we have a set of options. So the first option says, what are the ethical issues involved in the above case? So we need to find out the ethical issues which are involved in this case in the first part of the answer. And the second question is, so what are the options available to you in order to complete the project as well as retain Seema in the organization? So, as an additional Director General of Public Works Department, your priority should be completion of the project as early as possible, and also ensure good work culture within the department, so that you can retain individuals like Seema. And the third question, what would be your response to Seema's predicament? So, what measures would you institute to prevent such occurrences from happening in your organization? So, you have to answer these three questions in your case study. Okay, so how do you start introducing this? So, you just introduce this case study by writing about what Seema has been going through, and the need for the and there's also a conflict between ensuring safe workplace for women, safe healthy workplace for women, and also considering that the project would be completed on time. So there should be a collaborative, coordinated working environment within the organization or the department. Now, initially in the first part of the answer, so what you have to write is ethical issues that are being involved in this case. So first and foremost, the ethical issue is poor work culture in the organization. Yes, the organization has a very poor work culture because a senior architect has been harassing a woman from a same field. So therefore, it is a clear case of the relations of our various employees in the office are not very cordial. So they are not very cordial, and chief architect started harassing his junior. So this ultimately results in poor work culture in any department or any organization. So therefore, poor work culture would further result in a poor implementation of existing projects. The second aspect is compromised dignity. So it has compromised the dignity of Seema because she was continuously, discriminated, and towards Seema, a violent and aggressive behavior has been shown by the senior architect because he is scolding Seema in front of everyone. So therefore, Article 21, so right to life and dignity. So it is in dignity is inherent in Article 21. So therefore, it is unnecessary scolding of Seema by the chief architect, and it is hurting her dignity. Now here you have to mention Immanuel Kant. So he emphasized on human dignity. So human beings should not be treated as a means to a particular end. Okay, so therefore the end human beings should be treated as ends in themselves. And dignity of Seema is very important in this department, and she should not be harassed without her fault, since she is very competent than the senior architect. And third, there's a lack of ethical ecosystem within the organization because as it from the case that one employee is thinking about resignation, so she was continuously being harassed. So now she goes to the extent of thinking about resignation. Now it shows that there's a lack of ethical ecosystem to regulate the behavior of employees. So overall, this department, the public works department, lack the ethical ecosystem, lack of proper code of conduct, and even code of ethics within the organization. So overall, there's a lack of ethical ecosystem to regulate the behavior of employees in the organization. So this is another major ethical issue. So you can write more ethical issues if you can write. So, but this question is very lengthy. Since you need to write answer in just 250 words, so you have to be little concise. And the other ethical issues which are being involved in this case is gender equality. So that is the other ethical issue, gender equality in workplace. And the fifth ethical issue which is being involved in this case is the responsibility to ensure the more better work culture in the organization also falls with the director general of public works department. So you can write all these ethical issues. So after that, what are the options available to what are the options available to you? So this is the second part of the answer. So the first and foremost option which is being available to you is taking strict action against the chief architect or the senior architect, because he is responsible for Seema thinking about resignation. So despite there's no fault of Seema, she was continuously harassed, continuously scolded. So such behavior, compromising the dignity of Seema, that led to the Seema thinking about resignation. Because asking Seema to ignore the chief architect as much as possible. So this is the first option. So you directly approach Seema and ask Seema to ignore the chief architect, as he is a senior and he's going to retire in 6 months, and also explaining what has been given in the case study, that if project is completed, then much of the success of the project will go to the chief architect. So this is the first option. The second option is asking the chief architect to mind his conduct concerning Seema. So this is the second option which is being available to us. So you directly approach the chief architect and you explain her that respecting women in the organization is very important for departmental success. So therefore, it should not be tolerated at any cost. So you just directly inform the chief architect to conduct or to mind his own conduct regarding Seema. So when your response to Seema's predicament include, so you have to approach Seema first and foremost. As soon as you come across, about this predicament of Seema going to resign, you will apologize to her for this. Because firstly, you are responsible for poor work culture in the organization. So therefore, you just apologize for such a poor work culture in the organization. So on behalf of the organization, and then I will ask the chief architect to say sorry to Seema to restore her dignity. So you can assure Seema that the chief architect will apologize Seema for whatever happened, so that her dignity will be restored. So if necessary, so I will warn him not to repeat the same in future. So even though he is going to retire in 6 months, this behavior of a chief architect should not be uh, tolerated in any organization, in any department, because firstly, it discourages and disincentivizes participation of women in such projects, and it is very important for women empowerment and gender equality. And secondly, it also seriously compromising merit in the organization and the department. And third option, if we retain uh, candidates like Seema, then the projects would be completed much earlier with a limited resources, and that is very important for any organization success. So this could be the response to Seema's predicament. Now, after that, the measures to prevent such incidents or such incidents. So, what measures need to be taken? First and foremost, so implement she box idea. So there should be a she box in the office. So whenever a she box is placed in the office, women could complain about any instances of sexual violence, sexual abuse, and sexual misconduct uh, against any employee. Okay, so there should be a she box within the organization. So women could complain fearlessly. So the main problem in any organization is women are not able to come forward and complain about instances of sexual abuse, sexual harassment. So because of consequences which are being involved after such complaint, maybe the organization would not take concrete action So against the perpetrator, firstly, and this could further continue the harassment against the woman employee and further perpetuate the trauma and the mental stress. So therefore, women are not very often come forward to complain sexual harassment. So therefore, she box, setting up a she box would be a solution. And secondly, taking strict action against such people to warn others. So there should be a strong precedent against the chief architect. So this could be a deterrent, a warning to others that such practices in any organization should not be tolerated, because the aim of the organization is providing safe and healthy work environment for women. So therefore, when we took strict action against such individuals, we pass on strong warning to others that such behaviors will not be tolerated in the organization. So third, ethical training of the employees should also be given. So in any organization, ethical training of the employees is very important because it ensures a sense of equality, a sense of dignity towards others, a sense of respect, empathy, compassion. So they are very important not just for the individual professional growth but also organizational success. So individuals should inculcate values like emotional intelligence. So over a period of time, what these values will do is ensure a good work culture, and that is very important for organizational structure. And fourth measure to prevent such instances, so arranging occasional get together parties for the employees so that each other could understand better, so they work like a family. And when such get together parties are organized, then that could lead to better understanding, better coordinated working environment among these employees. So that over a period of time they can express themselves openly with these people. And in fact, the government has also come across Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013. So as per this act, every organization which is having more than 10 employees must constitute an internal complaints committee. So what is the responsibility of the internal complaints committee? So internal complaints committee investigate the issues of harassment against women in any organization and recommend appropriate action against such individuals who perpetrate sexual harassment against women. So therefore, this internal complaints committee should also constitute women members. So when internal complaints committee is being constituted, similar to she box, women could also complain about the instances of sexual harassment and sexual violence. So these are some of the measures that could be taken to prevent such instances. So in the conclusion, you just have to write the importance of following zero tolerance in any organization towards the harassment, the sexual harassment, sexual abuse, sexual violence of women. And over a period of time, this ensures gender equality, and that would motivate more and more women to be part of such projects. And that is the essence of equal and egalitarian society. So this is how you could conclude this answer. So the next case study is you hold a responsible position in a ministry in the government. So one day morning you received a call from school. So a school of your 11-year-old that you required to come and meet principal. So one day morning, you have received a call from your son's school. So you are asked to meet the principal. So you proceed to the school and find your son in the principal office. So when you reach the school, you find your son in the principal's office. So immediately principal informs you that your son had been found wandering aimlessly in the grounds during the time of classes. So your son wandering outside the school, or wandering in the school ground aimlessly. So when classes were in progress. So the class teacher further informs you that your son has lately become loner and did not respond to questions in the class. So he is not responding to the questions in the class. So he had also been unable to perform well in the football trials held recently. So there's something going on with your son, because he's not able to respond whenever teacher asks something in the class, and he was also not able to perform well in the football trials that took place recently. So you bring your son back from the school, and in the evening you along with your wife try to find out the reasons for your son's changed behavior. So what exactly went wrong with your son? So you try to find out the reasons for the same, because in schools with such small kids, bullying is very a very crucial challenge, a very problem. So therefore you try to find out problems for your son's changed behavior. So after repeated cajoling, your son shares that some children had been making fun of him in the class as well as in the WhatsApp group of the students by calling him stunted. Stunted means lesser height. So and also calling him the and frog. So he tells you the names of few children who are main culprits, but pleads with you to let the matter rest. So your son asked the matter to let the matter to rest. So don't take any action. So however, after few days during sporting event where you and your wife have gone to watch your son play, one of your colleagues' son shows you a video in which students have caric- caricaturated your son. So further, he also points out to the perpetrators who were sitting in the stands. Okay, so what happened was one of your colleagues' son shows you a video where some of students have been started bullying your son. So further, he also points out to the perpetrators who were sitting in the stands. So they were the perpetrators. So who were misbehaving with your son. So you purposefully walk past them with your son and go home. So next day you find on social media a video denigrating you, your son, and even your wife, stating that you engaged in a physical bullying of children on the sports field. So even though you have not done anything, a particular video has been circulated on the social media that so you have been physically bullying the children. So the video became viral on social media. Your friends, colleagues began calling you to find out the details. So one of your juniors advised you to make a counter video giving background and explaining that nothing had happened on the field. So you in turn posted a video which you have captured during the sports event. So identifying the likely perpetrators who were responsible for your son's predicament. So you have also narrated what has actually happened in the field and made attempts to bring out the adverse effects of the misuse of social media. Okay, so what you have done, you have made a video. So you have explained everything. So you have also narrated what has actually happened in the field. So instead of what has been portrayed in the social media post. So, and you also made attempts to bring out the adverse effects of misuse of the social media. So, you also informed the adverse effects of misuse of the social media. Now, this case portraying the fact that the children at such a young age, at a school age, are being bullied, and it very often leads to isolation, self isolation, stress, anxiety, and even leads to the suicidal thoughts, and it ultimately impact their learning outcomes. So such attempts of bullying should be prevented even in schools. There should be a healthy learning environment within the schools. And this case study has also been pointing out to the fact that there has been a misuse of social media to spread fake news. So therefore the question asked in this case study are, based on the above case study, discuss the ethical issues involved in the use of social media. So what are the ethical issues which are being involved in the use of social media? This is the first question. And second question, discuss the pros and cons of using social media by you to put across the facts to counter the fake propaganda against your family. So what will be the pros and cons? Because you are working in a responsible position, a ministry in the government. So therefore, you have to write, there will be certain pros and cons of you using social media to put across the facts to counter the propaganda against your family. Now, in the introduction itself, you just summarize the case, what has been asked in the case. So this case study involves a conflict or dilemma. So what should be the course of action to respond to such a fake news or the misuse of social media, and how to ensure that your child have a safe learning environment, healthy learning environment within the school, and ensure that those children who are bullying your child will not bully not just your child but other children in the school, because that is the essence of uh, healthy learning environment in any school. So in a brief way, you can introduce this case study in that manner. So first and foremost, it is asked us to write the ethical issues that are involved in the usage of social media. So what are the ethical issues involved? First and foremost, there is a lack of wisdom when it comes to the use of social media, because misuse of social media demeans someone, shows a lack of wisdom in common people. Because when people are not objective enough, and people are unable to understand the truthfulness of the posts in social media, so that could lead to wider social implications. So even that could goes on to the extent that people demanding extrajudicial killings like encounters, and that even leads to communal violence, mob lynching. So there's a clear lack of wisdom when people have been using social media or misusing social media. So nowadays, social media is increasingly misused to demean someone, shows a lack of wisdom in the common people, because you are not verifying the authenticity of such a post, just responding to the social media post as it is, and that could have a wider social implications. So secondly, there's an improper attitudinal training. So there's lack of attitudinal training. For example, peer students are making fun of their classmate on the basis of his physical appearance, which shows that there's a lack of proper attitudinal training by the family and the school. Now, generally, a healthy process of socialization involves society, school, and family. So here, family, school plays a very crucial role. School ensures discipline, punctuality, and they make students better citizens for tomorrow. And family also inculcate the values like equality, respecting others, dignity, empathy, compassion. So therefore, there's a lack of improper attitudinal training. So both the family and the society, both the family and school failed to inculcate the attitudinal changes or have values among these children. So that has led to them making fun of their fellow students, fellow classmates, and even this could have a wider implications. And the third ethical issue which is being involved in this case is causing harm to self. Okay, so since you are witnessing the phase where people are making reels even at the cost of their lives, many people have lost their lives while making reels on social media. So yes, there were instances of many people losing their lives while making reels. So increasing use of social media without any limits, without any boundaries, and youth being addicted to social media. So that could lead to the, they are feeding on fake news, and they are also influenced by the social media. So that could have consequences to the extent of causing self harm to the individuals who are using social media. So these are ethical issues, some of the ethical issues which are involved in the use of social media. So other ethical issues which are also involved in the use of social media. So what you can write. So social media now, people have access to social media, but they are not verifying the authenticity of the posts. And social media has been, raising the emotions of people. So it has been, there's lack of authenticity, lack of legitimacy of the usage and news in the social media, and it has been solely based on the emotions of individuals. And increasing addiction of youth to the social media is also a challenge. And even social media nowadays perpetuating news which are creating law and order problems, even have problems for the national security or challenges for national security. So ethical issues, these are the ethical issues which are being involved with the usage of social media. And the second part of the question asks you to write pros and cons of using social media. So what are the pros and cons which are being involved in the usage of social media? So firstly, now you are in a responsible position in a ministry in the government. So the question asked you to identify the pros and cons of you using social media. So making such a counter video against propaganda. So first benefit is it can provide maximum reach to connect with the masses in a short span of time. Since there has been an increasing penetration of social media, so therefore even if we post something, it has a wider reach. So in a very short span of time, it could reach, connect with a large number of masses with a minimum resources. So in this, it will be proven optimum utilization. Okay, so over a period of time, it leads to the optimum utilization of the resources or means available. So which is one required values for public servant. For any public servant, the optimum utilization of the resources means which are being available to you is very important. And it is very often considered as a primary value of any public servant. So you have understood this fact and you have understood this value and you have used the social media for the same. So social media could be used to counter the fake news, and it could be used to reach a wider audience within a shorter span of time. So therefore, the minimum resources you have, and you have utilized them in a much more optimum manner. So this is the first and foremost benefit of using social media. Secondly, it can ensure the greatest good to the greatest numbers. Now, we should not just look at the negative consequences of social media as a propagator of fake news, misinformation. However, we need to see the other side of the social media as well. Because of the social media, so whatever unethical practices, so the corruption and lack of empathy on the part of administrator are being exposed. If the government has been providing poor public services, so they are being exposed. So we need to look at the positive side of the social media as well. So when we look at the positive side, social media no doubt ensures greater good for the greatest number of people, because it can leave the right message to those students who are making fun of your boy. So if you are making correct appeals, so it could send the right message to students who are making fun of your uh, kid. And at the same time, your boy can come out of discomfort. So because once you are able to make appeal, so once your message which is made on social media so appeals to the those kids who are making fun of your kid, then ultimately it would discomfort your child also. So other people can also understand and learn about the misuse of social media. So they not just learn about the misuse of social media, so you give an opportunity to understand your side as well. And it also leads to a message to the parents of those kids who are making fun of the fellow students, so that the appropriate interventions from the side of parents and school could be taken, so that there should be a reformation and inculcation of positive values among those students, so that could result in ultimately greater good, greater good for the greatest number of people, or common good. And that is the essence and ultimate so aim of this entire case study. So ensuring a healthy uh, learning environment. And when we look at the cons, so what are the cons which are being involved in this usage of social media by you? First and foremost, this idea may not work, because nowadays social media is being used by everyone. So if you make a counter video, so there's no guarantee that the student group will make another video countering your arguments. So therefore, this idea may not work, because all content uploaded on social media may not go viral. So in that case, the purpose may be defeated. So if the content you have uploaded in the social media, if that content so do not go viral, the purpose may get defeated. Okay. On the other hand, so the video alleging you about physical abuse of those children become viral. And secondly, this is against the professionalism, because any government official is not supposed to reply through videos. Rather, he should use press briefing, police to raise his concerns. So he should approach this matter through law. He should use the press briefing, and he should also go to the police to raise his concern about his children, so that appropriate action will be taken. So therefore there is a need for a multi-stakeholder approach. So not just using social media will work. So yes, to some extent social media may work, but it is not the only solution. So you have to talk to the parents of those children who are making fun of your kid firstly, and you have to take into consideration the school staff. So what sort of an environment, learning environment they are being provided for the kids, so that such instances could be prevented. And your kid, talking with your kid is also very important. and instilling within him the confidence that whatever has been told to your kid is not true is very important. So you have to give personal attention and personal care towards your kid so that he would not be felt isolated. And secondly, you should also deal this matter in a legal way. You should approach the police and you should give the press briefing. So all these a, mul- a multi-stakeholder approach, or this multi-stakeholder approach, or this multifaceted approach, so will ultimately ensure the greatest good for the greatest number, and it will also result in common good. Why? Because it is in line with the professionalism that is being mandated, and secondly, it results in reforming of the kids who are making fun of your kid, and third, it instills confidence within your kid, and that is a very essence of your kids active participation within the classes or in sports as well. So you have to give a greater time for your kid. You should not neglect him. So because if you neglect him, that could further isolate him, and that could further build the stress within him. So in this way, you can assess the pros and cons and write a proper conclusion how this could ensure a greatest good for the greater number, and how it is a common good for all the stakeholders who are being involved in this case. So this is how you can conclude this case study. So with these two case studies, we have discussed all the case studies which are being asked. Okay, so in 2023 means examination. Okay, so thank you.